I'm a Sheridan Animation student who applied to the program 3 times. This is the video I wish I had. Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to give you every single thing you could possibly need for the animation portfolio. From hard resources to find on every section of the portfolio to scheduling tips and process advice. This video is one of 2 parts that will go over the entire Sheridan Animation Portfolio process. Where do I look, what do I draw, and how do I draw it? If these are questions you have after you watch these videos, those questions will be answered. So stick around, because at the end of this video I share a resource that even I could not find after applying 3 times, and it is kind of a lifesaver. And if that's not enough, if you message me after watching this video, I will literally give you a free 1-hour portfolio critique session with drawovers, advice, and tips personalized to you. We'll hop on a call, we'll get that done. So in this video, every single resource I'm going to talk about is going to be in the description. So scroll down and you'll find everything there. Let's start with number 1. If you type Sheridan Animation Portfolio or scroll down, you should see a PDF document from Sheridan. Now this is not the official document for your year, but this is a sample animation portfolio requirement guideline. And these stay about 90% the same every year. The only differences are in the storyboarding character and the animated object. Aside from that, you can bank on the requirements being generally the same. This document is super useful because it basically lets you get a head start on the work you need to do. If you want to start today, you can literally see 85% of the requirements you have to do. Okay, let's get started. Figures. This section is difficult to score highly because you can't hide your mistakes. If you don't understand your anatomy, it's going to be rough. So I've provided a lot of resources that are reference-based, but also educate you on the skeleton, because the skeleton is the biggest lever in this section. Disclaimer, obviously you're going to see naked people. That's kind of par for the course in the Sheridan Animation program, but maybe had to be said. Here are the figure drawing websites. Vandart Gallery on YouTube has a bunch of images, great lighting, and mostly resting poses. It's a great place to practice your figure drawing. Then we've got the Proco sample packs. If you search up Art Model Sample Pack, you get a sample pack from Proco that has great lighting and dynamic poses, but the models are minimally clothed. We got New Masters Academy on YouTube. They have both nude and minimally clothed models, timed sessions, and great poses. This is where I got the majority of my poses for the Sheridan Animation Portfolio. And everyone's internet go-to, Line of Action. The poses are pretty scattered here, and I find the lighting is pretty inconsistent, but they have a big collection of resources even aside from the figure drawing, like animals, hands and feet, and expressions. So we're going to go back to this resource later in the video. It's a great place to practice, although probably not the place you're going to find your final poses. For learning the skeleton, I love Sketchfab.com. This is a place you'll be able to find 3D models of almost anything. This is super useful for studying the skeleton, whether you want to isolate a single bone like the pelvis or have the whole skeleton you can rotate. And of course, these are online resources, but the best place to find figure drawing reference is your local live drawing sessions, because seeing it in person is so much better than copying from an image. Those are the reference libraries. Now, the best places to educate yourself on anatomy and the figure. Obviously, learning anatomy isn't as easy as looking up reference, and you're going to have to put a lot of time in, but these are the best resources I've found to simplify the learning process. Cynics Design's Anatomy Quick Tips on YouTube helped me so much while I was learning anatomy. They're succinct, they simplify the model, and they don't overwhelm you if you're just starting out. He gives you shorthands and simplified ways to draw the model that have been really helpful. If you struggle with organic shapes, artist Tom Fox can break the human figure into structured but simplified shapes that have really helped me draw the figure from imagination. He's got a book on the topic, but his Instagram has a lot of useful information as well. Now you probably already know about modern day James, but if you don't, he has awesome videos on every section of the portfolio, especially the Bridgman section and figure drawing for animators. Definitely worth a watch. Okay, we got a lecture from Kim Jung-gi himself. It's a bit complex, but it demonstrates the value of understanding the skeleton in regards to drawing anatomy. I think this skill is greatly underrated. The skeleton underpins every pose, and identifying the landmarks of the skeleton will help you in figure drawing so much. There's a reason the biggest lever in this section is the skeleton. So those are the resources for the figure. By the way, if you guys have any great resources that you found that I haven't mentioned, please leave them in the comments, share them with each other. This is the best way we can all learn and grow together. On to number 2, hands. The biggest lever in this section is going to be structure. Your hands are only as realistic as your volumes. So there's not too many resources for the hands, because when you're making hands for the portfolio, you need to take your own photos. My biggest tip is make sure that the camera is far away from your hand as you're taking the photo, whether it's a phone or a camera, because I'll just show you, when the camera's up close, your hand gets so much more distorted, but when it goes back, you see how the proportion remains relative. Yeah, keep that in mind. Anyway, there's a lot of resources for learning to draw hands and practicing them in the meantime, so here they are. On Instagram, we've got Subway Hands, an Instagram account of a bunch of photos someone took of hands on the subway. Weird thing to do, but good for us as artists. And we have Line of Action again, but the hand section, and it's actually pretty good. And if you want to learn to draw hands better, Marco Bucci's video on hands is very intuitive and digestible to understand. We also got Proko's video on hands, super technical but also very informative. Both would be a good watch. One relies more on intuition and the other relies more on structure. Like I said, structure is the most important part of this section. A good way to practice your hands, therefore, is to break them down into cylinders and prisms and see if you can get the volumes correct before adding textures and skin folds and nails and all that other irrelevant stuff. Okay, character rotation. Now the most important part of this section is going to be Western appeal. I'm sorry to those anime fans, but Sheridan really likes the American cartoon style. It makes sense. Most of Sheridan's graduates end up working in the West, so they're looking for a very Western art style. The character rotation requires you to have a good technical sense of space as well as a good eye for appeal. So these resources should help. This video from BAM Animation is a lifesaver. BAM Animation's YouTube channel as a whole will aid you maybe more than any other YouTube channel in making the portfolio, because they are animators who worked on shows like Rick and Morty and, well, that's all I know. Once you've figured out how to make a good character design, you can watch their video on how to rotate a character in space. So now that we've done the educational side, here are all the resources for the reference libraries I've found in order to find good character designs to study from. CharacterDesignReferences.com. This site has vast reference boards of everything from character model sheets to individual anatomy studies. If you need a style guide, you can find it here, along with a whole well of artist interviews and short films to inspire you. Living Lines Library is also another great site. There's less content here, but it's all from official animated movies. You can find the original concept art from Aladdin to Spirited Away. Take your pick. This essentially replaces the need to ever buy a concept art book again, because it's all right there. Like I said, the biggest lever in this section is appeal. So the more time you spend studying what makes a character appealing, especially in the Western animation style, the better your character is probably going to be. On to the animation section, where the most important thing you gotta have down is clarity. Clarity in expression, clarity in action. Your movements just need to be clear. Obviously, we got it right here. The animator's survival kit is, as it suggests, it is what you need to do well in this program. Now, you could read all 350 pages of the book, because I have a link to the free book, legally free copy online, or you could watch this 25-minute video by Alan Becker. that summarizes it brilliantly with examples and demonstrations. Now, what if you've never animated before? No worries, this video by Modern Day James is a great introduction to the basic exercises, and if you go to animatorisland.com, you can find the 51 animation exercises to practice from beginning to advanced techniques. Like I said, clarity is king here. When you're making the animation, it's better to prioritize simple but clear actions over a complicated action that you can't sell well. Animating takes a strong sense of volume. So if you struggle with solid drawing, you have to go to the basics and practice your basic forms and volumes. That's going to be cubes, spheres, prisms. Rotate them in space. Once you get a good grasp of that, animating the walkie-talkie or the juice box is not going to be as hard as it used to be. Depicting volume and solid drawing is what makes animation difficult, and once you can do that, it just becomes fun. Storyboarding. The infamous storyboard section. This section caused the downfall of many would-be Sheridan Animation students. The general sentiment of the storyboard section is that there is no grading consistency, but I think I disagree with that sentiment. From my experience, there are two factors that almost guarantee a high-scoring portfolio, I'd say 17 or above, and that's going to be an accurate character model and intentional shot choices. If you have those two things, you can almost guarantee a good score. The problem I think a lot of applicants face is that they think about animation as drawing, when in reality it is film. The techniques and fundamentals of film matter just as much as the fundamentals of drawing in this medium. And in film, we all understand the importance of the camera, and that knowledge is lacking when you're making a storyboard if you come from an artistic background. So, how do you learn about film language? Well, this video by Studio Binder takes you through everything you need to know about camera choices. And once again, Studio Binder is a great resource as a whole to learn about film language and the entire array of camera shots and their meanings, so that you can create with intention. Now, relating more to storyboarding for animators, Toniko Pantoja covers the compositional mistakes that occur often in storyboarding. So those two videos should give you a great, solid foundation to start storyboarding with intention and clarity. But we've got more. This blog is like the holy grail of storyboarding information. I couldn't even scroll to the bottom of it. From tutorials to animatics and storyboards from Disney films, along with in-depth guides on what to do and what not to do, everything you could possibly need to know about storyboarding is in this blog. Like I said, the most important thing here is intention. If your camera work is intentional and serves the story, then you're probably good. And you can rest easy knowing you have a solid storyboard. Perspective line drawing. The most important thing here is believability. This section is largely graded on technical ability and how correct your perspective is. A story matters as well, but the technical skill is king. If you can properly depict characters in a believable space, then you will do well. Once again, there's a video by BAM Animation that covers essentially everything you need to know about applying perspective. I watched this more than 20 times while making the portfolio, and it helped me a lot. They have another video on designing appealing backgrounds as well that you should definitely watch. Living Lines Library, already introduced, but a great spot to find exciting ideas to inspire your location designs. These two videos should teach you what you need to know about correct perspective and appealing volumes. The biggest lever in this section, like I said, is believability. This doesn't mean a believable, boring location. This means believable volumes that really sell the space that your characters are in. If you can do that, then you're going to have a good portfolio. The personal section. You don't need a lot of resources for this section. All the resources I mentioned before should give you plenty of inspiration you need to make the artwork you want. But the most important part of this section is character. You want to differentiate yourself from the thousands of other artists applying. Why should Sheridan pick you? You want to express your voice with as much clarity and uniqueness as you can. And the way you do that is by looking at what worked for other Sheridan portfolios and basing your decision off that. So you might not know what personal work is good for the Sheridan Animation Portfolio. And you know what would be helpful? A document where you could see all the Sheridan portfolios that were accepted and then reference them. Is this a setup? Of course it is. Here we go, guys. This is the document I did not know about until I came into the program, and I wish I saw it because it helped so much to reference other artists that got in. This document shows 82 accepted portfolios from the 2022 application year. So what you can do here is compare all the highest scoring portfolios against each other and find out for yourself what Sheridan wants. And if you're a student in Toronto, by the way, on Tuesdays, the Royal Ontario Museum allows you to go for free. This is an amazing resource to gather live reference sketches that you can put in your sketchbook, and I guarantee if you draw animals, it'll be great. That's it, guys. That is all the resources I could possibly come up with for the Sheridan Animation Portfolio. I used almost every single one of these to make a good Sheridan Animation Portfolio, and you can too. But this is only half the battle. Now that you have all the resources, how can you best utilize them in order to guarantee a acceptance? That's where the second video comes in, where I cover the entire process that I would recommend and use myself to get into the animation portfolio, so that you don't have to be a 3-time applicant and you can get in on your first try. So go to part 2 if you want to learn all about that, and if you want some free tutoring from me. If you do want some free tutoring from me, I'd appreciate if you watch the second video first, so that you already know the things that I'm going to say before asking for help. But please do leave a comment down below if you want that free tutoring. The way it works is first come, first serve. I'm going to help whoever I can, but since it's all for free, I don't have like all day every day to do it. So as soon as possible, go down below, tell me you want some free tutoring, and we'll set up a session. Like I said, guys, this is all to just help whoever is trying to apply. So please share this with your peers, like this video, subscribe if you want more stuff. With that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and good luck on your application. Bye, guys.